Might catch this on the mic.
Perfect. We're good to go. I'd like to welcome Kyle Westmoreland to the Media Center here at the Cadence Bank Houston Open. Welcome. This is a home event for you, so what's it like to be kind of playing in your neck of the woods?
It's an incredible opportunity. You know, I've wanted to play here since I can remember, from the time it was at TPC Woodlands to Redstone Members Course to the Players Course to now here at Memorial. You know, growing up, we play a ton of junior golf events at Memorial Park, and it looks different than it used to about 20 years ago, but you know, it's an awesome place and just a dream come true to be able to play here.
And be making your 10th PGA Tour start and first here at this tournament. How's your game feeling entering this week?
You know, we've tried to get better every week. The PGA Tour is you know, there's data points everywhere, so we kind of look at them and see and kind of figure out what we need to do better to compete at the highest level. And I think we've really set out a good game plan with my coach Jeff Smith and I and the whole team. And I'm just excited to test it this week on a great golf course with some length. We like to hit it far, so length's always good.
We were just talking earlier, went to Air Force. You talk about kind of how that helped prepare you and what you learned from there that can translate here on the course.
Shoot, I think, you know, being in the Air Force was quite a joy for me. I'm so thankful to have been able to go to the academy and serve for 5 years on active duty. The people that I met and the perspective I gained from, you know, traveling a little bit across the world, working with some of the best people you'll ever meet is an awesome opportunity. And that perspective, I think, is what I try to bring to the golf course and kind of bring that work mentality to the golf course and try to get better every week. You're gonna win some, you're gonna not do well in some, but the most important thing is just continue to put one foot in front of the other and kind of analyzing what you can get better at and trying to strive to, you know, perfect the golf game, I guess.
I may have a few more for you, but I'll open up to these guys. Just make sure you pass the mic around as you're asking questions.
Kyle, what's the response been like these past few months since you earned your PGA Tour card? You know, being the first player from Air Force to earn a card out here. What's the response been from past teammates or just kind of from everybody? What's it been like? Yeah,
I mean, it's been great. You know, the military community has been very supportive of me, and even, you know, the civilian community as well. Everyone's been very supportive. It's a good story, and, you know, I think I've told Dave this in the past. Like, you know, I'm glad to be the first Air Force Academy graduate out here, but I hope I'm not the last. So hopefully, we can inspire some people to continue playing golf even through their service time, get a little bit better, start putting on those Air Force and Army and Navy putting greens, and try to get better and make it out here.
What's life been like on the PGA Tour so far? I know you kind of mentioned there's going to be the good days and the bad days, but what's it kind of been like for you, and what have you learned about yourself and your game that you think you can apply to the rest of the season?
It's been fast, but I can't complain at all. It's been an awesome experience to be able to be out here. You know, having you guys out here asking us questions, putting us on a, you know, kind of a platform is incredible. It's something that, you know, I've never thought of in the past, right? You know, everything that comes with playing on the PGA Tour, but I'm just super thankful to be here. And you know, this is golf's greatest platform, golf's greatest game, golf's best competition. So I'm just thankful to be here and competing against the best and trying to win.
Coming out of high school at El Cinco Ranch, were you heavily recruited? Were you offered a lot of scholarship offers to play golf someplace?
I wouldn't say I was heavily recruited, not like most of these guys. I had opportunities to go play at U of H here in Houston. I had, you know, some of the smaller schools in Texas at the time were looking at me, but Air Force was really what provided me the best opportunity to go to college with, you know, everyone's scholarship is paid for by the government, right? You pay for it with your service time. So Air Force was my best option coming out of school. I grew up a Texas fan, and that didn't pan out. There's a guy named Jordan Spieth that was a year behind me. That was, I think the coaches were looking at pretty heavily, but I wasn't heavily recruited, to answer your question.
Okay, you said you played some junior events growing up. Did you play any AJGA as well?
I did, yes. So unlike the Jordan Spieth, Corey Whitsitt, you know, Corey was the same year as me here at Memorial. They were playing PGA Tour events right in high school. Mine were more localized. So I played all the AJGAs in Texas and kind of around Texas, the Oklahoma area. I guess Arkansas was one. And so I played those. I didn't win any of them. I did well enough to get some looks from colleges in certain places, but I started with little linksters here with the PGA Texas South Texas section, and then the HGA. So kind of what I came up playing and what, you know, helped me get to college, and then ultimately what formulated me to be playing out here. So I'm very thankful for my college coaches. I went to Air Force and was able to play immediately, and those coaches really invested in me, and I didn't like doing homework. So I found out that if I stayed at the golf course and worked and practiced, I could miss some school days and miss some military training, but my coaches really helped me be here.
Yeah, I saw your age, and I knew you're from the area, and I'm going, well, that's pretty much Corey's age. I figured you had to. Is there anybody on the tour now that you kind of played against in AJGA?
There's a pretty neat little picture one of my buddies sent me when I made it to the tour, and it was through the Korn Ferry Finals. It was a PGA Texas section north versus south when I was 15 to 18 years old, and in that picture, the 13 to 15 or 12 to 13-year-old boys were Scotty Scheffler and Will Zalatoris. So they were there. They were younger though. For me, Cody Gribble played a little bit in Texas at that time. I think he might have been a year or two older than me, but there's so many good players in Houston. Corey was really the biggest up-and-coming thing, and he's doing great things now in Birmingham, but just not in the game of golf.
Okay, 8 years ago, you said that Jason Duffner was your favorite golfer. Is he still your favorite golfer, or is it changed?
I didn't know I said that, but
it's in the Air Force media guide.
That was probably about the time where Jason Duffner was in the PGA, pretty near the top of the PGA Championship. My favorite golfer, I really like the Zach Johnson type golfer out here who has done so much on the golf course but has done so much in the philanthropic space. I think that's what the PGA Tour does best to set itself apart from, any other organization out there. It does an awesome job of giving back. I got to be part of the First Tee Clinic yesterday out here, and that they put on here. First Tee at Houston is incredible. Those organizations that they do. Zach Johnson does it as well as anyone I've ever met. He gives back so much of his time and assets. I would say I envy now someone more, kind of like a Zach Johnson. I don't know that Jason Duffner doesn't do that. I just know that Zach Johnson does it really well.
Yeah. What's the strongest part of your game?
Statistically, I think the strongest part of my game is driving distance. That being said, out here, the biggest factor, the biggest stat is proximity to the hole. So whether that comes from hitting more fairways and hitting a little closer to pins on scoreable holes, or that comes from just being a really good iron player. I would say that's my aspiration, to hit it a little bit closer, make a few more birdies, and hopefully you can ask me this question again at the end of the season, and we'll say scoring average.
You still reside in Katy?
I'm sorry?
You still living in Katy?
I don't. My whole family does.
Okay.
I live in Charleston, South Carolina now. So I got stationed there with the Air Force, and we moved back there when I got out of my service time. Met my wife there too. So I think there's a good chance we end up here at some point, but we're not there. We're not here right now. But we're still rooting for the Astros.
Okay.
When it's been a few months, that final day at the Korn Ferry Tour Championship, have you been able to reflect on that day kind of in general and just how it played out, and now you've had a chance to think in what you did that week and those three events?
Yeah, that week was nuts. If I could go back, there's really nothing like it that I've experienced in golf. Even from getting a tour card for the Korn Ferry Tour to go on Korn Ferry Finals, be on the bubble. I wish I would have just picked up one more shot in Ohio, and then it wouldn't have been an issue. But I'm just thankful to have been on this side of it, right? There's so many factors that go into where you fall, how you play, how, the guys that are right around you in the numbers play, how the guys ahead of them or behind them that day are playing. There's so many more factors than I could have ever imagined. And my wife and I, we've talked about it, it was just an awesome experience for us. It's a huge checkpoint in the game of golf to be able to get to the PGA Tour. But getting to the PGA Tour isn't our end goal. We're here to do some damage, and we're here to really, test our mettle against the best in the game and try to get better. So while getting here is a great thing, we have, a lot of aspirations, a lot of goals yet still to accomplish.
Do you remember those 90 minutes after signing before that last putt dropped, and basically you were able to get ahead of Garber?
Yeah, 90 minutes or 3 days. That was the longest 90 minutes in history, and especially because the 17th and 18th holes there are just carnage. So you're watching guys that are ahead of Joey, make bogeys and doubles coming in, and you're just seeing Joey climb up. And I heard I finished in he finished in a 5-way tie for 12th. and if he would have been a 3-way tie, I would have been kicked out. So just absolutely nuts in those 90 minutes. I can't. There's really nothing to explain it, right? Because I don't. You try so much in life and in the game of golf to only focus on things that you can control, and I had no control over that. What I could do was done. I wish I would have just played better, and that would have taken me off the bubble. But being on the bubble is a crazy experience, and I have some gray hairs, I'm sure, from it, or loss of hair. I'm not going to take my hat off to show you, but there might be some loss of hair. So it was an awesome time. Those 90 minutes were cool, and just happy to be on this side of it. And Joey Garber's a great dude, and he finished so well. I think he made a double and then like 3 or 4 birdies in a row to get there. So I'm sure we'll see Joey out here soon.
And then this is more general, but do you have things that maybe at Air Force you learn to cope with pressure when you're on the course, whether it's a shot or a day?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is just, general perspective, right? You control the things you can control, and you let the things you can't go. Any excess, worrying or angst is not beneficial. And then when something happens, when there are nerves on the line, you always can fall back on, this is a game of golf. It's a big thing in life. It is what we do. It's not who we are. But, there's a lot outside of the game of golf. So if it doesn't go your way, I know I'm going to get off the course. I'm going to give my wife a kiss, and we're going to go eat some food, and we're going to be back at it the next week or 2 weeks or however long it is. But, in that moment, you try your best to accomplish whatever task it is. And if it goes your way, great. If it doesn't, you work your butt off to try to make sure you do accomplish it the next time it comes around.
Or did that come with your military service? And if so, was there ever any concern about what it might do to your swing?
Yeah, so I grew up playing a bunch of different sports. Grew up playing football, baseball, basketball, and golf. Golf was really kind of migrated towards golf as I guess probably freshman sophomore year of high school. And, I always liked fitness. I always liked being in the gym. In Texas, everything's built around football. So you start your weightlifting in junior high, 7th grade, and then you kind of go up through there. And at the academy in the military time, I definitely escalated that a lot. It's a different type of fitness from golf, right? So, it's more push-ups, sit-ups. It's not really any rotational aspects. So got really into it. Like I think I told them earlier, I didn't really like doing homework at the academy. If you were at the school, you were subject to, training, right? So I liked working out. I liked practicing golf. I liked working out, and I liked just trying to get better. So I did it a lot in the military time, throughout my school time and my active duty time. Because anywhere you go, there's not a golf course anywhere you go, but there is a gym. So most places, whether it's, a Connex box or whatever it is, there's a gym. And so I really, that was one of my hobbies. That was one of my pastimes. I felt like I could get better. If I wasn't getting better on the course, I could get better in other aspects that could help me with the game. The last couple of years of service time, I transitioned from doing like traditional, the bench presses, the squats, deadlifts, to more of an Olympic training, kind of more functional movements to help me with the game of golf. And then I got out here and realized that when you're playing week to week, you can't do that stuff, right? So it's what I do now is it's tailored way down. Kind of really delve into kind of the science behind it, and I think golf fitness is becoming so much more prevalent, and lost a few pounds since the military time, but it's probably a good thing.
One more, finish off with Richard.
Yeah, Kyle, you mentioned you played other sports besides golf growing up and everything, but is there a particular time or a moment when you realized that you may have a good future in golf? Yeah,
I think it was there's a tournament called the Patriot All-America Championship, where all the Division I, Division II, Division III All-Americans compete in Arizona in December, right before the new year. And I think it was my senior year, or really junior and senior year, I played it. They invite one person from each service academy as well as the All-Americans, and I was able to win that tournament. So you take the best in the world, you take the Brysons, you take I forget who else was there. There's a slew of people that were there. Take all those guys, and I beat them that week. And I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. These guys are the best amateurs in the world. And at the academy, you can't really play a full amateur schedule, so you're not going to go out and play all the A-list events to really boost your amateur world ranking, right? I think I broke 100 maybe once or twice when I was in college. The 100 list, the amateur ranking. But when I won that tournament, I was like, I can do this. I'm going to do this. It's just a matter of time. We didn't know if it was going to be right out of the academy, 2 years or 5 years. Kind of depends on who's making the policy at the time, but it ended up being the full 5 years, and I was fine with that because that's what I signed up for. And then we got to it.
Kyle, it's great to hear from you, and thanks for taking the time. We wish you the best of luck this week.
Thank you.